Hello, beautiful people. The theme of today is feelings. More specifically, being afraid of your feelings, hating your feelings, resenting your feelings, avoiding your emotions like the plague. You get what I'm saying. So, by the end of this video, you're going to understand some of the reasons why you fear your emotions so much and some of the steps that you can take in order to alchemize some of those emotions, truly feel them, and ultimately live more peacefully. So, before I really get into the meat of it all, I want to discuss why this is even important. Why is it important that we actually feel our emotions and that we don't feel so afraid of them? And the main thing that I really want you to know is that your feelings matter, babe. They do. And if you ever had anyone in your life that led you to believe otherwise, it was because they thought that their feelings didn't matter and they were projecting that pain and that hurt onto you. And it wasn't fair that it happened, but it happens to so many of us. And once we know about that it's not about us, it's our job to just see what we can do to cultivate that peace in our own life. Another big reason that your feelings are important is because they can teach you a lot of really valuable things. Your feelings aren't there for no reason. They are there to guide you and they are there to teach you things. And if we shame our feelings or ignore them, then we miss out on all of the guidance and lessons that they can give us. And the last point I'll say here is that when we avoid our feelings, it also affects our ability to connect with other people. So, what I mean by this is that if we never allow ourselves to be truly witnessed in our feelings and emotions, then that also affects our ability to be able to be there for other people and be there for other people to sit with them in their pain and their emotions. But of course, before we can hold other people in their emotions and in their pain, we need to learn how to do that for ourselves first. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. How do you know that you're afraid of your feelings? What does this actually look like? Avoiding your feelings is it's bottling things up, it's pushing down your emotions. It's using distractions to avoid feeling. So this could be your phone, it could be working, it could be drugs, it could be watching a lot of TV. It's like anything that you use in order to avoid feeling. It is feeling resentment. When you're holding so many things in, like, yeah, you're gonna feel some type of way about that. And it's explosions. This is when we feel so out of control and out of our own bodies that we're almost just acting on impulse and we feel like something has taken over us. So this can manifest in crying, yelling, picking fights, destroying things. So why do we do this? Why oh why? Isn't that the $1,000,000 question? There are a lot of reasons. A really big one is our fear of rejection. In the past, if you've ever felt shamed for feeling the way that you feel, then it's so natural that you would create these beliefs in your brain that feeling makes you bad or weak or a burden. So even if it's been decades since you've experienced that, you still have that belief running in your mind on autopilot that tells you, if I feel, I will be rejected. So I gotta avoid that at all costs. We also fear our feelings because they suck. Plain and simple, they are uncomfortable to experience. It's really not a blast to fully feel your sadness or your anger. So it's really natural that we wouldn't want to do it. And we are also afraid of our feelings because we fear the explosion. So, like I referenced a little bit before, the explosion is when we feel so totally out of control, and that's when we really release everything. And I think what happens is that in our brains, because we're afraid of that eventual explosion, because we know on some level it's coming, especially when we've been avoiding things for so long, and because we're so afraid of that eventual explosion, we also learn to be afraid of the feelings that lead up to it. But here's the thing, the only way to actually reduce our instances of explosion is to deal with the individual feelings as they arise. Because when we're not dealing with them as they arise, they're building up so much. And instead of dealing with like one thing at a time, then it's like this whole mountain that feels so overwhelming. Truly feeling our feelings requires that we learn how to pause and observe ourselves and really sit with the feelings that we have. Just push through that discomfort because it really, really sucks. But ultimately, when we do it, it doesn't even really last that long. There's this rule in psychology called the 90-second rule, and this just states that emotions actually only last about 90 seconds in our body. Like, really, that's literally it. But this is only true if we follow a specific process. So, in the 90-second rule, you have to notice your emotions, sit with them, and accept them. But as many of us know, if we cannot do that, then our emotions can last way longer than that. Okay, so how do we even sit with these feelings? Like especially when they're feeling so overwhelming and scary, how do we actually do that? The first thing we do is pause. So like when you are feeling that bubbling up, that stress, when you feel like you want to reach for that thing that is your usual distraction, like maybe it's your phone, and then you're like, oh, like let me just go on TikTok and not think about this. So before you do that, you are going to count for 10 to 30 seconds. And this isn't quick seconds, you are counting slowly, okay? You're doing 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And you're going to do that as long as it takes for your breathing to slow down and for you to feel a little more relaxed. During this time, your only job is to count and to breathe. And then after that 10 to 30 seconds, when you feel like a little less activated, then you can reassess and think about what you want to do next. The second thing you do, branching off of this, is to breathe. There are so many breathing techniques out there specifically designed to help people calm their nervous systems. So a lot of these are proven, tried and true, have been used for thousands of years, so you can trust them. So you can do something more formally, like signing up for yoga or meditation classes, or you could just pull up a YouTube video with guided breathing techniques, and that's going to be super effective too. The third thing we do is we move our bodies. Moving your body is one of the quickest ways to get out of your head. So whether that's running, dancing, climbing a tree, whatever. Whatever is going to get you moving, get your heart rate up a little bit, that's going to be great for getting you out of your head. And a quick little caveat I'll add here is just beware of making your exercise another distraction. And basically what I mean is, like, when you're doing the exercise, be present in it. Like, don't listen to a podcast. Like, I love podcasts. They're so fun. But that's just going to be like another way that you're distracting yourself and not fully like dealing with the emotion that is present in your body. Another thing that you can do is journal. So journaling is a really great practice for releasing your feelings. And if you don't really know where to get started, I actually do have a video on this, so I'll put that in the link of the description if you would like to try that. The fifth thing that you can do is connect with your younger self. So when you were a young person and you were feeling really big emotions, what did you need? What did you want other people to do? What did you want other people to say? And then once you know what those things are, you do that for yourself. So for me, a version of this, like, it's going to be different for everyone, obviously. But when I'm feeling super activated, what my younger self wanted, and by the way, what your younger self wants is often what your current self wants too. But what my younger self wanted usually was like a hug and a reassurance that my feelings were okay. I'll give myself a hug, like literally. And I'll say something like, I got you. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. So yeah, think about that small version of yourself that needed to hear or feel something, and then you do that for you. And the last tip here is to talk to people you trust. So whether that's family, friends, a therapist, a teacher, just anybody that you feel safe around. Because having a soundboard can just be so healing. And the other thing here too is that if you find that safe person to speak with, it helps us prove to ourselves that our feelings are not this like fundamental flaw in us. Because at the end of the day, we're human. We all have feelings. We can't avoid it. And we deserve to be held in them. And a little extra note I'll add here about connecting with other people is, like, I'm sure there'll be people out there that will say, oh, but like I don't have those people to talk to. And that's okay if you don't have that yet. Big yet, you're going to have that. If you want it, you're going to have it. And a way to get to this point is to just start with those people that you feel safe with. And obviously, like, you don't have to get into everything if you're not ready to do that yet. That's okay. But when we take that step to be vulnerable with somebody else, that is so, so brave. And when we do that, it also gives other people an opportunity to also be vulnerable with us. So it's kind of like this portal to connection in a way, where it's like when we decide to be vulnerable in that way and be seen in that way, it also helps other people in our lives realize that they can do that too. So it's a really beautiful thing in that way. I hope that this video was helpful. Honestly, every time I shoot a video, I mean, I'm still pretty new in my YouTube journey, but like almost every time I'm like, oh my God, like I probably left out some really important things and I could have explained certain things more. And like, that's always sort of like going on in my head. But you know what? At the end of the day, like, I've said what has come out for me in this moment, and there's always going to be more to say. And I'm also going to be making more videos. So there's no problem here, really. But yeah, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.